What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. I know what today is, okay? I know what today is, but you're not going to get anything past me. We're not going to be doing anything at the channel that's going to be an April Fool's joke on you. But maybe some of this news you're going to maybe potentially hope that it's partly that. We'll see. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today, it's Friday, April 1st, 2022. Of course, we all know it's April Fool's Day. Everybody has a lot of fun with that. I do not. When I say I do not, it's fine. Yeah, when you're young, it's fine. But at this point, it's just nonsense every year in and year out, especially in the social media age. People love to put fake news out there, but that's not what we do here at the channel. We're only going to talk about real stuff when it comes to Juventus. Though I did say that we'll see maybe some of these numbers and stuff, you're going to be like, that has to be a joke, right? So anyway, we'll run through the news. Before we do that, though, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Make sure you follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter, as well as, of course, the Bianconeri Zone on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Let's dive into it. So what's the very first news story that we have today? And that's John Elkann, and this one, hopefully it's not. Hopefully this is not an April Fool's joke. And this is the Exor board meeting, where he said that Exor will guarantee that Juventus the time and the resources to return to the top. So right now, John Elkann is giving his full confidence and his full all of their abilities to make sure that Juventus are back at the top, and then hopefully can pursue winning not only the Scudetto, obviously the Scudetto, multiple Scudetti, but really when it comes to winning a Champions League down the road. So we'll see what kind of money flows in, what kind of players they're willing to put together for this squad, especially moving into this Mercado and the next Mercado. What moves are they going to make to make sure Juventus have the top talent on the field to be successful in that I guess that moment. All right, next story up we have is Paul Pogba again. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Tudo Sports saying that Pogba would like to return to Turin, but the costs are holding everything back. Juve are not offering 15 million euros. It is more plausible that they offer a contract with high bonuses. Allegri being the coach is an advantage, as the relationship between the two is excellent. We talked about this quite a bit yesterday, about how basically the financials of the whole situation are kind of holding back Juventus from really just snatching up Pogba to come back. And it really, if he's going to come back to Turin, he's going to have to take a big pay cut. I mean, nearly 50%, if we're being honest. And I don't know if I see that happening. As much as he wants to be a Juventino again, to be a Bianconeri player, I don't know if he's going to be able or willing to take that pay cut. It's right now he's such a brand. Pogba has become so much bigger than he was when he first came that I just don't know if he'd be willing to take that cut. We'll see what happens, but at this moment, that's where we stand right now. Maybe Allegri being the coach will play a big dividend in the end. Next up, and this is where I get into the April Fool stuff, right? Romeo Organesti is reporting that, according to reliable sources regarding Rudiger, he would like a salary between 10 and 11 million euros per season, and a signing bonus of between 20 to 25 million euros. And this has to be an April Fool's joke, right? It has to be, because this is just nonsense. Rudiger, I value him less than I do De Ligt, so he wants to be making much more, or not much more, but he wants to make a lot, I would say a lot more, right? A lot more than De Ligt's even making right now. On top of that, he wants another 25 to wet his beak as he's coming in here. I think it's ridiculous. I think this is crazy money. If Juventus end up paying this, I will be flabbergasted, to say the least, when it comes to this. Rudiger, if you want to come to Juventus, be reasonable. Be reasonable, my guy. And again, I understand right now his main goal is to stay with Chelsea. So we'll see what happens. If Chelsea doesn't work out, how does that change down the line? Do his numbers come down? We'll see. All right, continuing on. We've got Corriere dello Sport who's talking about Zaniolo. We're talking about these prices and numbers, and it's funny today. And I know we have our listeners and we have our viewers that tell me not to talk about Zaniolo. It's part of the news that's happening, my friend. Anyway, not it's happening, but it's part of the news that is in the cycle. They are going to say that Zaniolo would not be at the top of Juve's list, which is surprising, right? With Roma asking for 50 million euros. Furthermore, Roma would not be inclined to sell one of their most talented players. Maybe, potentially. It's funny though, if you notice, that figures dropped precipitously from yesterday, right? It was 70 million euros. That's the number we hear a lot. Now it's 50 million euros. Just keeps getting more and more realistic as it churns down there. We'll see as it stands right now. We'll see how the deal gets done between Roma and Zaniolo if they come to an agreement and they end up renewing. It seems right now that that's all on standby and doesn't seem to be any wheels in motion. Of course, I say that, and then tomorrow I'll wake up with news. Talk about those wheels already in motion and done, right? But he may not be at the top of the list. Maybe you have Pogba at the top of the list, right? But Zaniolo is like right there. I refuse to believe that he's not right there, just because what other options are you looking at? Milinkovic-Savic does not seem reasonable. It doesn't seem likely. You look at Jorginho, and that maybe would be the one maybe a little bit above him because it seems more feasible. The wages are fine, and then you don't have to deal with a big maybe, well, I don't know. We don't know exactly what kind of pay you're going to have to pay to get him out to Chelsea right now. So we'll see how that ends up unfolding in the days to come. But for right now, Zaniolo, that's the latest we have for him. All right, talking about other Italian players and other Italian talent, Repubblica are reporting that Inter would still be in pole position for the likes of midfielder Fratesi, but Juve, Milan, and Roma are reportedly trying to catch up and opening talks with Sassuolo and his entourage. The midfielder is valued at around 30 million euros. Again, we've talked about this recently as well. These are just news stories that are continue to persist, and the Fratesi one keeps to develop a little bit more steam, I guess, behind it. The one thing I would say, not that I'm not super high on Fratesi, it's just, I mean, to me, he's not the midfield splash that Juventus are going to go for. If you're going to get him, he's a secondary option, a partner to the big option, right? So it's not something that I'm super bought in on. I'm not super zoned in on Fratesi of being the guy that Juventus need to go out there and get right now. We'll see what happens. Of course, it seems that Inter are ahead, but the one thing I will say is that Juventus have really established really good relationship with Sassuolo and Carnevale following, obviously I talked about it yesterday, the Locatelli deal, so they seem to be pretty open to Juventus, and I feel like Juventus could sweep in if they really wanted to go all in to get Fratesi. I don't know if they'd pay 30 million euros though for that player. He's not nearly what Locatelli had developed into at this point. Next story up, Gazzetta dello Sport is talking about the future of Rabiot and Arthur, saying that the future for both of them remains in the balance, and a sale of both at the end of the season cannot be ruled out. The end stretch of the season could be decisive. As right now, it seems more and more likely. Obviously, Juventus want to push Rabiot out, right? You want to get Rabiot out of here at all costs because he's a wage issue. He's way too expensive, and then also he's just not performing up to par for Juventus out on the actual pitch. When it comes to Archer, he's a little bit more usable. He's a little bit more, to me, I feel like he brings more to the table, me personally. Though, he does not really fit into what Allegri wants to do out there either. So when you go in and you put the two pieces together, it seems likely also Archer will be the easier one to sell, right? You have to imagine that Archer will have plenty more suitors than Rabiot is going to have, so that way you can go ahead and sell him off. We'll see. But those are the two options that Juventus are really trying to move maybe into the summer. It seems more and more likely that Allegri really doesn't have a place for Archer, and for some reason he's had a place for Rabiot. I mean, I understand all your midfielders are injured, but at the same time, he's getting way many more minutes. Is that the word I'm trying to use? He's getting a lot more minutes than I expected him to get at this point in the season. All right, and the last news story of the day we have for you is about Paulo Dybala, saying that Corriere dello Sport is reporting that basically Allegri is thinking about going back to a 4-4-2. So throw that out there for what it is, the 4-4-2. Yeah, we know. And for the game against Inter, with Dybala being benched and Zakaria starting in midfield. So obviously, this seems to be maybe the opening. Kind of sad, I guess, if you're a Dybala fan, obviously, to see him being benched for a match like Inter. Obviously, he hasn't been useful or, healthy for almost every big-time match, so why even play him against Inter? I guess that's one way they're looking at it. Also, you got to start thinking about the future. Why play a piece like him in a match that matters? If he can help, right? But at the same time, maybe you want to start getting your team, get the wheels turning and the motions going in the direction of where you're going to be in the future, which is going to be a Dybala-less Juventus, if you will. And Zakaria, obviously, having him back and healthy will be fantastic to see what he can do there for the midfield. we know from the very first couple games that he played, he looked really, really good. He looked leaps and bounds better than what I was seeing from the rest of the midfield. I'd even say, I'm sorry to my guy, but even better than Locatelli and what he's been doing here lately as well. So we'll see how that goes out. We'll see if Dybala gets many serious minutes, or if he really is benched. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Dybala needs to play? Yeah, I understand he's leaving at the end of the season, but he's still one of your most talented players, and if he's healthy enough to go, you probably want him out there to try to get a goal or so out there and potentially, get the victory. You need this victory against the Inter if you want to have any kind of thing to look forward to at the end of the season. Anyway, guys, that's all the news that we have for you today. I know it was a little bit slower, but obviously some important pieces we need to talk about as they continue to develop throughout the rest of the season and into the summer mercado. Let me know your thoughts in there. Any of the players that we talked about today that you're really interested in. Do you think that Pogba is still target number one and that Zaniolo is lower, as is reported by Corriere dello Sport, saying that Zaniolo is not nearly as important as it's been laid out there so far? I don't know if I truly believe that. I think a lot of the rumblings have been that Zaniolo actually is much more important and serious of a target than they're putting out, or than Corriere dello Sport wants to say, if you will. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Of course, there's the injury issues. I had to bring that up. I know you don't want to hear about it. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on all the players, all the different moves Juventus could make, as well as what are your thoughts going into the Inter match this weekend. We'll leave that in the comment section down below. Like I said, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Also, make sure you follow Bianconeri Zone out at Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and myself at Justin Sofro on Twitter as well. I'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.